So I just did a great episode all about content angles and using angles in your repurposing and how my agency uses angles. And it made me want to come back in and talk to you about intentions because angles can be heavily tied to intentions. And if you don't know what I'm talking about at all, then you need to go listen to my private podcast where I share with you the CLIP framework. It used to be the CPIA framework. If you've listened to other episodes, I've renamed it content, location, intention, and perspective because CLIP is way better than CPIA. Don't you agree? Anyways, on this episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur, hosted by yours truly, Felly Day, we are going to talk about content intentions. There are 4 content intentions that my agency uses to support our clients. Those are lead generation, sales, nurture, and education. But before we get into each one, deciding which one's right, blah, 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 I want to explain the intentions to you and why I think they're so important. This came about because people would bring me their content and say, create. And I would kind of say, what do you want to happen from this content? And it would be like, oh, I want to see some sales. Oh, I want to grow my audience. Oh, I want to send people to my email list. And it became a lot easier instead of saying, what do you want from each platform, to say, what do you want from each content? Especially as people are creating content for Instagram like reels and carousels and static posts, and they have different intentions for each one. Same for LinkedIn now with their articles and videos, and they have carousels and static posts as well. So each type of content on each platform can have different intentions. As well, email, you can have newsletters that are more nurture content, and you can have sales-based emails that are for a sequence or for a sale or just the supporting emails that go out during the week. So every type of content has a different intention. And I realized that by getting that intention upfront from my clients, it helped us to create content that created the result you wanted from your content, which in turn helped us help you achieve your goals, right? Because that's what we as content repurposers, my agency in general, is trying to do. We want you to see your goals. I'm not just going to say that tripling your visibility is your idea of success. You could want more sales. You could want to grow your community. You could want to build your email list or start seeing sales from your email list because you've never sold to your email list, right? Like there's so many different things you could want from the content you're outsourcing to my team. And by having the intentions in place, we all get to be on the same page of what intentions you have for that content so that we can help you get there. So, lead generation, pretty straightforward. We're generating leads. Content that generally has a lead generation intention is things like Reels and TikTok. Carousels can, but they also can be more nurture education depending on your platform. Threads can be great for lead generation. LinkedIn can be great for lead generation. YouTube can be great for lead generation. It tends to be the who and the what, right? Like lead generation content is almost like the qualifier. It's that first step in. It's I am who you're looking for. You are who needs this. What this is what I can help you with. This is what you're struggling with. That's the lead generation content that we're creating. Next up is sales content. This is content where you want people to buy. You're talking about why, you're talking about where, you're talking about when, you're talking about what. Not so much the who in sales content, because they should already know who you are when you're asking for the sale. Great places to sell. Personally, I found Threads to be a really great place to sell, and I found email to be a really great place to sell. I can't speak to YouTube as I don't personally have a lot of experience with it, more with repurposing off of YouTube, not creating for YouTube. But I would say LinkedIn isn't the place to do front-facing sales. You're more nurturing on LinkedIn than selling in your content. Same for a podcast. Podcasts, if you do specific series, if you do a pod funnel, those can be sales based. But for the most part, a podcast is more education and nurture, and then send them to the email list to buy, or send them to the website to buy. Like your sales pages are have the sales intention. And so let's move along to education. I feel like education and nurture content can get very blurry. Like there's a gray line between the two of them, but they both serve their purpose. Education content can be the how and the why, where nurture content is the why and the what, right? Education is like, come in and let me show you my expertise. And nurture content is like, let me show you why I'm the expert for you. That's where I see the difference between nurture and educational content. Though I do think that on the platforms where education content performs really well, nurture content also performs really well. Podcasts, carousels, LinkedIn, I think on those platforms, educational content and nurture content both perform really well. I don't think educational content performs the best on Threads. I think it's more lead gen sales. I don't think that nurture content performs as well on LinkedIn. I think that educational content does better, as well as lead generation content. On podcasts, I'd say they're pretty equal. And emails, while yes, nurture content does well, and if you're going to go into a sale, it's good to nurture, it is a trap that a lot of people get stuck in, that they only educate and never sell, or they only nurture and never sell. So email, it can be good, it has its purpose, it has a time frame, and then you go into selling off of your educational and nurture content. Anyways, those are the 4 content intentions. Those are how I use them in my agency, how my team uses them to repurpose the content that we receive to the best of our abilities. I hope that this lesson has given you a deeper understanding of your own content strategy as well, especially if you're someone considering outsourcing, because knowing your strategy deeply can really help you outsource effectively and see the results that you're looking for from the investment you're about to make. Hopefully it's in me. But if you want to talk about this deeper, my DMs are always open. You can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, or email me info@fellyday. And I'm going to love you and leave you here. This was a nice short and sweet episode, which you all know I love to create. But I will see you all next week on another episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur. And I would love it, love it, love it if you could take 2 minutes to rate, subscribe, review, whatever the platform you're listening to asks of you. And as always, don't forget to stay unprofessional.